Welcome to Bat Therapy, mental health through the lens of comics and film. Be a fly on the wall or a bat in the cave, listening in on a friendship built out of a love for talking Batman, comics, and the everyday struggle to achieve mental health and happiness.
We're your hosts, clinical psychologist Dr. Emilia Brown and educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and social media and find our Patreon at patreon.com/battherapy.
This podcast is about providing education and understanding and is not a replacement for mental health treatment or support. If you're needing help, go to bat-therapy.com for resources.
All right, let's talk Thor. So, yeah, I'm excited because, I'll do my recruitment assessment for Avengers Initiative and then we'll get into it. But honestly, I find him to be one of the most interesting characters, which I never expected. So,
have you watched his Doomsday trailer?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Chills. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely loved it because I'm like, okay, good. Give us serious Thor back after.
Yeah. So I was about to say, I think it looks like they did good in terms of what, as a psychologist, I would expect in terms of his development, given everything that's happened. In terms of, so recruitment assessment is more, okay, what might someone trying to look at the Avengers teaming up now, right? Preparing for Doomsday. We're assuming this is the same Thor that we've seen. It definitely seems that way from the teaser.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, when it comes to an assessment for Avengers Initiative for Thor is probably the potential candidate who most identifies as an actual warrior.
Yes.
In addition to this, across worlds, he is the most equipped to do the job of an Avengers because not only has he been a warrior, he's done it across worlds, dealt with all sorts of different things. He's done it with a team. He really and truly is a warrior god. And, bonus, super strong. You want him on your side. He's just intensely, unbelievably powerful, right?
He's also had more experience than the entire team combined.
Right. He is your quintessential warrior that would translate to the purity of Avengers the most. He doesn't understand, doesn't care, and sees it as puny human stuff, the politics behind Avengers. So you have to be careful about Thor in terms of the political underpinnings that tend to be there for Avengers. So if there's that piece, we need to be mindful that he's a hammer, so to speak, or literally sometimes. So you use the hammer for what it's used for, but don't expect any political nuances out of this guy. Because he's a warrior, he's prone to a lot of masculine traits. He tends to express himself through strength, through physical prowess. You see how he is with Quill, for example, and you really get to see just, he is a manly man kind of thing. This also means he has difficulty expressing emotions for himself. He's going to work best with a strong leader who can provide very quick and very clear instructions for him. And it would also help if that leader has high emotional intelligence to help Thor be able to maneuver through what he's dealing with. Fortunately, despite the warrior mentality, sometimes that comes with some sense of more traditional views on women. Potentially because he comes from this exposure to all these worlds, he doesn't have that. He has no difficulty with female leadership or female teammates. He would probably not, I don't know if we've seen it, but probably no issue with other gender orientations either, taking leadership or team roles. He really is just focused at the task at hand as a warrior. In terms of his mental health, there were some concerns in the past. He was really struggling. But he's made new connections. He's developed new roles for himself that mean that his mental health is not a concern in terms of him being a part of the Avengers team. However, given his newfound fatherhood, it does need to be considered. He's not going to be, and we see it from the teaser too, he's not going to just jump in and be the warrior who's willing to sacrifice everything anymore. He very clearly wants to come back, period. He wants to be alive for his now child that he has. But there's also there's something to live for again, which is helpful, but also it's going to change his strategy as a warrior. There's also hints that he doesn't just want to come back. He wants to come back as a person. He wants
Yeah.
to come back without losing what it means to be human as a warrior. He knows what war can do to people, and you hear this concern, and so he might have
Yeah.
more limitations. We
The
also know at
growth.
this point
Yeah.
there can be other Thors. So at the end of the day, if this is a
Okay.
recruitment assessment for Avengers, especially if Nick Fury has anything to do with it, we might keep it in our back pocket. If he doesn't work out, how do we make another Thor? So that's my recruitment assessment.
Nice. I like that. So a couple he's lost so much.
Mm.
Like it's so interesting when you watch through the movies, and every single one, it's like outside of the very first movie, it's like loss after loss after loss. His dad goes into a coma in the first movie. He loses his mom in the second one. He loses all of his best friends in the third one.
Not just that. In the third one, he doesn't just lose, he loses.
And his dad.
So he loses his dad, he loses his planet, he loses a lot of friends and people. But he loses the reality of his father that he finds out was not reality at all. His actually a big issue with his dad. His dad is an example of why a full family history is so important and so
Ugh.
hard to get. I mean, he seemed
Yeah.
like this. And also, after you've watched the third movie and then you go back to the first movie, you're like, "Odin, you're a hypocrite. You're getting your son on this huge quest when all you had to do was sit down with him and say, 'Look, I've been there, son. I've been the one that goes to war when it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
You're old enough now. You're what, thousands of years old? You're old enough now,
Right.
son. Let me sit you down and tell you more about your family.
Yeah.
Let's talk hella. Like, come on. His dad, that's a
Pretty
big
bad.
family secret to keep. So
Pretty bad.
that's ripped. They don't go into that enough, I don't think. Because he loses so much. I mean, he loses planet and, like you said, all those other things. And so they
Yeah.
probably hit him more. This next movie, though, if they focus on him more, I bet if they do it right, he's probably going to start having to process more what went on with his dad because he himself is trying to figure out how to be a father.
That's a good point.
His dad's an example of how no one's perfect. He was both an amazing, wonderful father and a huge liar.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty bad. And the thing, he also lost an eye. Let's just throw that asterisk in there as well.
God, they need to talk about his depth perception or something.
Lost his eye, lost his hammer in that one.
True. I think he got it. He got it back though in the fourth one.
He
has it at the end.
Yeah. At the end of the fourth one, he has it back. So between 3 and 4, he gets Stormbreaker in Avengers.
Which is a killer weapon, man.
Oh yeah. Stormbreaker's so cool.
Yeah. But he gives Stormbreaker to Love at the end of the fourth one, it looks like.
Yeah. That won't, yeah. That's not gonna, yeah. He's gonna get Stormbreaker back. He's gotta have it.
I don't know anything about these characters.
The reason I
outside of the
think he
MC,
has
I'm
to
gonna
have
be
it
real.
is because the reason I think he has to get Stormbreaker back is because Stormbreaker has the ability to access the Bifrost. Like he can travel between realms with Stormbreaker.
Yeah. Good
And
point.
so I think he's going to end up getting Stormbreaker back just for
That's a good point.
just for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in Avengers Infinity War, he loses Loki. Finally, he loses his brother after like so many fake deaths.
Look,
he actually,
by that point, I'm not sure. Psychologically speaking, we don't know if Asgardians are going to view things differently than humans because they're supposedly never die, essentially, but then they can't. They live. There's just so much.
They have Valhalla. They have
That
Valhalla. Makes everything
there's
better.
a ton of stuff that might make them different, but like psychologically speaking, at a certain point, can he ever be sure that Loki's dead? I don't think so.
Probably not. No.
Even on his own deathbed, he'd be like, I don't know. He might be alive. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, is he? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
because no,
who
you're
knows?
absolutely right. It's just
But the
he's
poor
such
guy,
a
it
wild
traumatizes
card.
him every time. You can tell how upset it makes him, even though his brother's a jerk to him.
Such a jerk to him.
And, a serial killer, but whatever.
And of course, as soon as it seems like they're seemingly working things out, that's when Thanos shows up and just makes sure
And so for him as a
of it.
warrior, the fact that he was so close. Okay. So the brutal thing about regret is the it's like the closer you are to success, the more it hurts. So like
Yeah.
for example, for the Olympics, I think I've shared this on the podcast before, but when they look at how people feel, gold medalists of course feel great.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Bronze medalists feel better than silver because they almost didn't get a medal and silver lost out on gold.
Middle
And
child syndrome.
so if we translate this, I mean, it's not a clean translation here, but that's just
Right.
one
No.
example of the fact that regret or things like there are a lot of things that he was so close, right? He was so close to getting it done. If he had not been close at all to being able to kill him, he would have had
That'd have been one
regrets and
thing.
been replaying it. But this, he literally just needed to get his head off
Yeah.
instead.
Aim for the head. That
Aim
was
for the
it.
head instead of the heart. That's brutal. Yeah, that replays for him so much and takes a huge toll.
It was one of those things where as you witness it, Thor's story constantly makes you backtrack through everything he's been through. And
Mm,
that's the thing that's so brutal. And it's so heartbreaking too, because he keeps having to relive it.
yeah.
He keeps having to relive it and he keeps not getting peace. Cause yeah, in Love and Thunder, he gets a daughter, but he also loses Jane in like such a sad, brutal way. And the thing that's so sad about it too is it's in a very human
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Yeah.
Like it's in a, it wasn't
Do
it
Asgardians
wasn't
even get sick? Their gods
right,
definitely don't, you know?
right.
Yeah.
Which is
Uh,
why she was able to survive for so long because of the enchantment that he put on Mjolnir to
yeah.
protect her.
Yeah, but was also killing her this faster at the same. Yeah, so I was smiling a little bit, just a little bit before then because I was thinking while you were talking about just how he just gets loss after loss and then reliving the other stuff. There's this one little snippet where he's talking to Jane in that fourth movie where he says, "Have you tried meditation?" They're talking about just like dealing with everything. "Have you tried meditation?" Just made me angrier. It just makes me laugh because I think what he was doing, he wasn't meditating. He was just ruminating on stuff
Yeah.
is probably what was happening and just getting stuck in the loop of everything and focusing on that rather than focusing on the experience of what was happening. That stillness, trying to get that stillness can be very hard when you've got all that loss just banging on your door, your mental door like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was very tough to watch, especially after it was such a goofy movie. There was so
I
much
know.
goofing off taking
Ragnarok got the
place.
balance so well, and Love
Yeah.
and Thunder, it was off. Like you said, it's nice to see that the seriousness is gonna come back because they did shift him. They almost backtracked him in terms of his style before his original movie. Although, I think part of the issue was they were trying to get him to fit with the Guardians of the Galaxy style at the beginning, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that knocked it off a little bit. Once again, that, like, masculine energy with Quill, I don't know, is although they were a little bit more chummy this time around.
Yeah. They
But
were for sure.
yeah, the movie itself, it had some good plot points, but yeah, not the best progression of Thor.
No. I so yeah, I'm extremely interested in seeing what
Mhm.
happens with him in this next one because in my mind there's no way where they don't just have him constantly having flashbacks because even in that trailer when you see him, he's legitimately like almost on edge and begging for supernatural help,
Mm.
right? Like, please help me get through this again and not return an extremely broken person.
If he's gonna be I don't it's possible that he would have flashbacks. That's not how he strikes me. So he does have a loss, a lot of trauma, and it's possible that he might have some flashbacks and stuff. I think the struggle for him could be he does not know how to be a warrior that comes home to a family. He knows how to come home to other warriors. And that is a very difficult transition. Now, granted, at the end of this last movie, his daughter's literally going to war to battle with him, but he's still trying to be a father and have that
Yeah.
softer side. And so, what I'm wondering, I think there's potential for what you're talking about, but I would actually be more interested in seeing them play out that very real concern about being so much of a warrior that you don't feel like you can fully come home.
Yeah.
And so depending on what the situation is, that once again, he's a warrior. He's seen and heard it all. He probably knows how brutal it can get. And if it's something that could shift, and he just is coming back different. So I kind of hope they go that direction instead. I mean, obviously someone can experience both of them simultaneously. Uh I don't know. I think I'm not sure why I'm not thinking flashbacks for him.
And I'm really interested I'm really interested in seeing if his daughter plays a role, because I mean, you
Mm.
see her fighting at the end of this one, and seemingly it seems as if like she's not going to play a role, but at the same time, I don't see how any if how any strong people's going to be able to stay out of this fight. I feel like they've been alluding so much to the young Avengers and the idea of it, because now that they've introduced her almost as so they've introduced her as a young Asgardian. We have Miss Marvel. We
Mm.
have Hawkeye, the new
Oh,
uh
right.
in the show. We've seen Isaiah Bradley's son,
We did?
Isaiah Bradley he has like a grandson. He showed up in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Okay.
You see him, Ant-Man's daughter.
Mm.
We've seen her. And so they keep introducing like all of these different characters
Interesting.
with the potential. And I feel like they've constantly been alluding to possibility of a young Avengers. And I always just thought, once I saw her with Stormbreaker at the end of that movie, I figured, okay, she's
Mm.
probably going to end up somewhere in there.
I wonder if because of the sheer amount of people they're trying to fit in this, maybe that's one of the things that they, throw in near
Save
the
for later.
end.
Just like everything else. I mean, the stuff in Thor, I mean, at the end of Thor Ragnarok, you see Zeus sending his son Hercules to kill Thor, and we never see that ever again. Like,
No, that's at the end of the fourth movie,
okay, never mind. It was at the end of Love and Thunder.
Love and
Okay, yeah.
Thunder.
And so,
But
no telling
that was
yeah,
a while ago. When did that come out? Oh, I don't even
Love and Thunder
remember.
was, God, it seems like it was probably 5 years ago,
Yeah. Although
if
who
not
knows
more.
the passage of time these days.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
nothing's real.
I know, right?
It's
Yeah,
2022, so it's about 4 years old.
about 4 years. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there is that question. I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this at the end of this movie."
Yeah, and so
'Cause I
the
don't know.
MCU just
They've gotten too big.
they've had so well, honestly, I almost wish that, like, they would just do one timeline at the time. They introduce 9 things and then go with maybe one of them. And so it's one of those, and also, I'll be honest, it's hard to top. It's hard to top.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that first Infinity Saga, it's just gonna be really hard to ever come close to the impact that had, because they spread it out over such a long period of time and the payoff was so epic.
They just
I
can't. I think
Yeah,
I think they've gotten better maybe at accepting that and, okay, what can we do now? And don't try and make it that big I mean, they're doing Doomsday, but,
yeah.
I think they've come out with some other stuff recently that hopefully I don't know.
It
It
kinda
does
reminds me of, like, Michael Phelps' Olympics when he won 8 gold medals, and it's like,
right.
my god,
And
that is
so
insane, and I'm not expecting anyone to ever come close to that, like,
and so
no.
then he goes home, he smokes a bunch of pot, and he coaches now, right? Or something like that. So,
Right. Yeah.
they're hitting that stage. Or,
Good for him.
he was impossible to beat. Now almost all, if not all of his records have been beat. And so, just keeping in mind, it doesn't have to be some one big Michael Phelps thing, but yeah, a thing here that because they've got some quality shows and stuff they've done. But I have a question for you that's not Doomsday related, but
Okay.
very Thor related.
Okay.
And I think we've asked ourselves this question before, but what does it mean to be worthy of Thor's
I
hammer?
do not know. It's so It's so
I
confusing
don't
because
understand.
Odin puts the enchantment on Mjölnir in the first movie. He's like, only those worthy will be able to wield the power.
Yes. And then
And
Thor isn't able to do it. So he's lost his worthiness or didn't have it.
Right.
And then he gains it.
Right. But he never loses it again. Like the enchantment stuck because no one was able to just pick it up.
Yeah. I do love that he never lost it. Like in whichever Avengers movie. Thank you. Endgame.
Yeah.
In
so
Endgame,
good.
when he sees his mom and he does it just to check. And I actually really love that because I felt like it was a really good emphasis on mental health struggles do not equal a person losing their worth. So I loved that he did not lose his worthiness. But there is that question mark of what did he gain that got him the worthiness? So, okay. So he can wield it. Vision can wield it.
Vision.
Captain America can wield it.
Yeah, Steve Rogers.
But then the big ringer is Hela can wield it.
Couldn't tell if she
not
could
wield
it or she just destroyed it.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she's just.
I think he tried to hit her with it, and she just straight up catches it and destroys it.
I thought there were pictures in the mural of her holding Mjölnir. Am I misremembering that?
That would make sense
before the enchantment.
It was before the enchantment.
Okay. Then we won't. Okay, that helps the list become a little bit better. And then
because Hela should not be
right. I was like, what the hell is it?
Wait a minute. Wait.
So Jane can wield it, but that they suggest, and we're only going MCU. Everybody listening who's screaming, "Oh my god, how do you guys not know?" But so Jane in the movies, they essentially say it's because Thor asked Mjölnir to always take care of her, so that's why she could wield it. So we're not going to say that she's worthy, quote unquote. But okay, those three are worthy, but absolutely no one else who's tried to lift it. And we know how I feel about Captain America. And if you don't, go back to that episode. It was very recent.
So here's the thing. I think that it's all about that person's intentions right then. Like even in Ultron, I don't truly think at the time Captain America was able to wield it. Like it moved a little bit, but I don't think at the time he could lift it in Age of Ultron. Like when you see the little wiggle, like you see it move a little, because at the time it's like, okay, what are his intentions with it? They're just sitting there playing a game.
See, that's not how I read it. I read it as he saw it moved and he stopped on behalf of Thor.
See, the physics of it, it looked like he did legitimately try. And then he was like, it looked like it stuck. It looked like it stuck.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm not convinced. I felt like he didn't do it because he didn't want to take a chunk out of Thor's masculinity in that moment.
Maybe that's what makes him worthy. I don't know. But yeah,
and Vision makes sense. I just got to be honest that what would make Thor worthy of who he's meant to be is different than who Captain America is. So, for example, Thor kills people. So it's not that you're not going to kill people.
Right.
Right?
So is Cap.
So that's not a piece of it. It seems like there was some humility that he learned in the first movie that helped him gain it back.
Right.
He was willing to more connect to people. So maybe it was more, you're not flying by the seat of your pants, but you have more of an awareness and appreciation for life or whatever. But I just gotta be real. I love Thor, but he doesn't strike me as this almighty worthy being in a way where a hammer worthy of him, you couldn't find like hundreds of people who would meet that same worthiness level.
Yeah. And that's why but that's also why I have that opinion of like, I feel like it has to do with the intentions. Like, I feel like at this point, Thor can wield it because it's his. Like his dad, when his dad put that enchantment on it, it's like, all right, Thor is obviously my son, but if he wants that power back, he's gonna have to be humble or have good intentions of it because of how he first lost the power going to confront Luffy without his dad's permission and being banished to Earth. But like at that moment, I feel like if Hawkeye had been trying to fight against Thanos, he maybe could have been able to lift it at that moment in particular, because it seems like it's all about like needing to protect life at all costs. Because when Thor was finally able to lift it again, it was when the destroyer was on Earth about to completely wreck that town, which he did. He just didn't kill the people.
Yeah.
Um,
So, okay. So it sounds like you and I disagree in terms of some things, but agree on others. So I don't think I think it's more personality traits, or maybe not traits, because I mean those can't change as quickly as they ever Thor, but just kind of like the general way a person is. Because I don't get the sense that it's something that like, oh, you can wield it here but not over here. It's more of
yeah,
a steady like, who are you as a person? But I think we both agree that it doesn't make sense how few people can wield it based on what we know. And here's what I would love to do. This would be a really great time. So, okay, let's say whoever's heading up the Avengers at this point, I don't freaking know. But let's go back to like Nick Fury because that's the easiest. But let's say he's like, you
yeah.
know, being Nick Fury, I would really love to find some people who could use Mjölnir whenever, aside from Thor. That's totally something he would behind the scenes try and figure out, right? Be a great place for some psychological testing. So
Hmm.
Thor wouldn't know what the hell is going on. The issue with testing is it is standardized based on humans, so I don't know how it would work for him per se, because he's a being that has lived for thousands of years and has a lot of experiences. He might look psychotic at some assessments, but psychological assessments in a lot of ways, it looks for patterns and it looks for,
Well,
how a person might react or respond or think or be just generally.
hmm
A lot of times is what we're looking for. And it would be so interesting to essentially take a bunch of people and see, okay, so how do the people that have wielded the hammer, how do they stand out from everyone else? Like, what are the traits that they have in common that other people don't have? Because I'm
they
just not convinced it's an in the moment change, or someone else would have picked up the hammer by now.
so in the MCU, it does seem like the people that have been able to lift it have like true convictions.
Mm,
I
yeah,
will
I'll give
say
you
that,
that.
like true convictions, because I also feel like that's why Thor was not able to lift it in the first movie. It's almost like you need a true north
Yeah,
in
he was a
order
bit
to
Tony
be able to,
Starkish about how he went about things in the beginning. I
yeah.
okay, I'm
And
liking what you're selling here.
what's interesting is like, and this is just in the comics, but in the comics, there have been times where Thor, something happened and all of a sudden he couldn't lift Mjolnir.
Mm,
It's like, get yourself straight, then you can lift Mjolnir. Right?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's like, sorry, you got to have clearance before you can lift it again. We need you to get a checkup there. Right. So yeah, it almost seems like that it's not even a
Okay, so
it might be
based on your
based on,
comic book knowledge is part of why you see it more as a, so instead of traits, it more of a state. So things that change more often based on the situation and things that are more fluid. Yeah, and see, the thing with the MCU though is if that were true, I think that he would have had more variability. I don't think he would have gotten in the first movie and then just been good the whole
right.
time.
Well,
Um,
and it's,
like when he's drunk, for example, be a
yeah,
nice time for the hammer to say, you know what, dude, maybe you just kind of chill for a little bit and then we'll hang out after.
yeah. And yeah, and so yeah, maybe it's the convictions, because like you look at the other Avengers in there that were trying to lift it. Rhodey works for the military.
Yeah.
He takes, at that time, he was basically just taking orders. Tony's convictions are a whole lot of him wanting to clean up his own messes.
Yeah, Tony, his motivations are complex.
Right.
I can totally see why he's not worthy, and I don't think he'd be surprised that he's not worthy. So,
Right.
yeah. What about Hawkeye, though?
Hawkeye, again, military guy.
I mean, he's a military guy, but I feel like the conversations he has with his wife in whichever Avengers movie they went, not Endgame. Was it Infinity War? I forget which one they went to his home.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
It was Age of Ultron.
In that movie, when they talk about things, you got more of a sense of he is a true north for the team. But I guess you're right. There is, at the end of the day, a mentality where he's kind of, I'm going where I'm sent, but I'm doing good. But also, well, I was going to say the same for Captain America, but I guess he then blows everything up in the interest. But
in my mind,
but he's able to pick up the hammer after he lies his butt off to Tony, doesn't he?
Yeah. At the same time, at that point, who knows if he would have been able to lift it then?
Well, right? He lifts it in Infinity War, right?
In Infinity War, once he apologizes to Tony at the end of Civil War and everything.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So, in my mind, potentially, right before Tony snapped at the end of Endgame, he might have been able to lift Mjölnir. In my mind, potentially.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We're on the same page with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that it's, yeah.
Well, that's a bummer, because then he could have grabbed Mjölnir, turned into a Thor, and then snapped, and he might have been okay.
Yeah, it couldn't be longer than 3 hours. It couldn't be longer than 3 hours. Plus, he has to be Dr. Doom now.
True. Although maybe, because Jane, her energy was getting sapped by Mjölnir, so, the cancer spread faster or whatever. So maybe just the human body still wouldn't have been able to hold all of that. But that gives an out for Tony to still be alive. It's just kind of sad. Well,
I mean, for all we know,
I think he would.
For all we know, they could bring him back. Disney has the money for it. All these multiverses, you're telling me he's not dead in all of them. Like he's out there somewhere.
That's true.
Around.
Okay. Here's the only way that I think this is realistic. So, we're both a little bit in disbelief how few people can actually lift the hammer, right? And are worthy. However, you know what it might be? Here's an argument for the sake of this being true. The traits, especially if it's this trait that we're talking about, a true north, etc., the traits that make you worthy might also make you a lot less likely to try to lift the hammer in the first place.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I actually was sitting here thinking, in real life, who I think people were that would be able to lift Mjölnir. One, Bob Ross, the painter. For some reason, I've got a feeling the guy could just paint with that hammer.
Yep.
Mr. Rogers. I think Mr. Rogers could do it. Someone else I was thinking of here.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Maybe.
No?
He had his.
What, you saying he's too socialist?
No.
A socialist would be able to live it.
But yeah, maybe it just, maybe it's on the civil rights aspect. Yes. I feel like a lot of the times, like the people that, like, when it comes to Mjölnir, it's a lot of it almost seems like some of them might be a little too moralistic, but at the same time with Thor, he's just like a party boy, like at times.
And that's the confusing thing. So granted, you get a deeper look at him and how much it's important to him to be able to protect. I think that's another big piece, is this really intense desire to protect. And here's the interesting thing with Vision. I would have loved to see, actually, I think Vision is a great example of how most people worthy aren't going to pick it up. Because didn't he just move it? Because it just needed to be moved. He's like, oh, here you go. I think it was like, oh, Thor, don't forget your hammer. And he's like, ah.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that's a great example where I think a lot of people that have these traits are less likely to have that party mentality of Thor.
Yeah.
are less likely to be, doing all of these things that Captain America is. And they're probably more likely to be subtle, behind the scenes, steady kind of visionaries, and are not going to just think, oh, let me try and pick up this hammer. And so that might be the interesting thing about the worthiness, is what makes you more likely to be worthy might make you less likely to try and pick it up.
Okay, in that case, then yeah, I think MLK could probably lift Mjolnir for sure, for sure.
I mean, it doesn't have to. I don't know his full
I don't know. I
autobiography,
think,
or yeah.
yeah. I mean, no one's perfect. No one's perfect.
Well,
I
and
don't
that's
think
the
I could
thing,
lift
right?
that. I don't think I could lift the hammer.
Oh,
I
I
don't
could
get
not
enough.
lift a
I don't
hammer.
get enough sleep.
I don't think there's a prerequisite for sleep.
That's mine for sure.
Yeah, that's
For
not it.
sure. Not enough sleep. Can't lift Mjolnir. That's for sure
I think
mine.
you have a good point, though, is that, and that's the thing, is it takes a lot to lift the hammer, which is why it's so intriguing. It's like Thor he really doesn't stand out as this stalwart, like this is who you should be in terms of a human being, but he does have these really wonderful undertones that he's going to sacrifice. He really cares about other people. He's really pushing forward. He just happens to also be a huge goofball, and not the smartest, not the sharpest tool in the shed
Like,
either.
Thor's a good guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like the enchantment kind of works on him because of nepotism. Everybody else is much harder. Everybody else has a much harder pathway to being able to lift the hammer. But it's just
Ooh,
it
that's an
was it was
intriguing
it was
thought.
his dad's enchantment. He was always going to will it to him. Like it was it was a little bit of it was like
The
he kind of,
Asgardian version of nepotism.
as long as he's a little worthy, he can have the hammer. But anybody else,
That
I
is
need a
actually
full resume.
that is a really interesting concept, I have
Yeah,
to say.
yeah.
That's a really
It's like you're
I
my
like it.
son, so I'm gonna will it to you. But if I had to hire someone to take the hammer, it's gonna be a much more elaborate
Oh my god.
vetting process.
Honestly, I think you're right.
That's what it is,
I
right?
really think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I really think you're right. Because if he can do it, why can't Hawkeye?
right. Like it's who knows? Yeah,
Because
it's
for
one of the
argument's sake, okay, Hawkeye, he's part of the military. Well, Thor was part of his dad's military, essentially.
yeah. There was also a part of me that wondered, like, because Vision lifted Mjolnir right after Thor used Mjolnir to give Vision life. Like he takes the hammer and hits
Is it right after
the
that? I forget when it
it's
is.
it's
Okay.
like it's almost right after that. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh well maybe
Hmm.
is there something in the lightning? Like is it a
Oh, right, because it
right?
helps them know that he's a good guy. They're like, "How
Yeah.
can we trust Vision?" Blah 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 blah, and he
Yeah.
hands
And
it,
he's
and they're
like,
all,
let's get going. It's like,
and they're like, "He's good."
oh, I'm so glad they set up that device earlier in the movie.
Yeah. But why are they all dudes? Once again, the women are probably like, "That hammer's too much work. There's too
Right.
much going on."
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. There should be.
Get someone
Yeah.
genderqueer all up in there too. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
or like non-humans. What aliens might be able to, although I guess Vision's not human.
Yeah. Vision. Well, and that's what's interesting. Well, and they have a really funny point about that too, because I think it's at the end of Age of Ultron when they're talking about how Vision can lift it. And they're like, well, Vision's a machine. If you put Mjolnir in an elevator, the
Oh,
elevator would
right.
still go up. They go
I
through a
forgot
whole
about that.
thing.
I forgot about that.
It was
Oh
so
my
good. It was so
god.
good. But yeah, Thor definitely has good intentions.
Yes.
He has a good heart. And I think that like part of what it takes to be worthy of that power is some selflessness, courage,
Mm-hmm.
and that willingness. Honestly, I think a lot of it might be that willingness to sacrifice
Yeah.
yourself. And
I
so
think the
that's why I said
willingness to
I think
sacrifice is a good point. Also the thing that Thor has that I think might actually be really hard for a lot of people is, once again, his exposure to so many different worlds.
yeah.
And not just that, but an exposure in a way of trying to have peace and connection. And so I think once he was a little he got a little ahead of himself and was a little macho man about things and wanted to just do the war thing. But once he worked through that, he really has a heart that can connect really well. And because he can connect to any creature, really.
Heart of gold.
Yeah. And
He does have a
so
heart of gold. Yeah.
that piece, I think, is rare. Once there are other people that could wield the hammer, but with that piece of things, you might not even really want to or have the urge to.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I looking at the list, like, there's a part of me that feels like Sam Wilson might be able to lift it. Like, or potentially should be able to, as the new Captain America. And like,
Wonder, though, is there something about conviction to it?
yeah, I
Well-
definitely think, yeah.
Well, I mean, Thor has a lot of questioning and he can still lift it, but once again, that might be the nepotism.
Yeah, I think it's some nepotism in that enchantment. It's like, oh, do you have the power? You've got the right DNA.
Helps to be white and blonde.
Yeah, he does have great hair. Now, honestly,
He does have great hair. Not in the first
Yeah.
movie.
honestly, yeah, the first movie
The
was a
eyebrows
little
were
but
weird.
it was, they bleached the eyebrows. That's
Yeah, that
what
was a
made it weird.
mistake. That was a
what
mistake.
made it weird.
And they were there no women there to be like, can we fix his eyebrows? I mean, not to stereotype here, but there was no. They've got a whole host of people who are there to make people look good, and they didn't go. This was a mistake.
I mean, I'm not going to be the one to tell him. I mean, but hey, go tell the warlord that his eyebrows aren't.
No, I'm not talking about telling Thor. I'm talking about the people making the
set.
movie.
Okay.
Jane Foster being like,
Okay.
dude, what's with your up? No, I mean,
Right.
literally the people making this.
Okay. Now
That was a
we're on
great,
the same-
that was
we're
a
on the
great
same page
misunderstanding. I love it.
we're on the same page now.
yeah,
I always
I would
thought
never
maybe the
tell
lightning
Thor,
turned
but-
him that color.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good storyline for that. Yeah, he has very nice hair. It's true.
But I'm hoping that I want him to get a happy ending. And I know it doesn't happen a lot for heroes, but at this point, I'm like, okay,
I think they will.
he's lost enough. Like, let him get a win, because I was honestly really upset when they did kill off Jane Foster in Love and Thunder, because her character was great. Her
I didn't love
character
her.
was her character. I thought that she was a really good balance to that Thor. And honestly, what I wanted to see was, Natalie Portman is such a phenomenal actor. Like, she is amazing. And what I wanted to see was her interact with Infinity War and Endgame Thor. I wanted to see her interact with that Thor as the Jane Foster that we have known so far. That is completely human. And in that movie, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I really wanted to see. And they just made a joke of what could have been a very, very powerful, even more heartfelt movie.
And I think that's what I didn't love about her. So the first Thor movie, pretty much all of the characters are tongue in cheek, surface level, kind of flat in some ways, in my opinion. They don't have the depth to them, and they just kind of feel a little that quirky offness that you sometimes get in movies. And that was the vibe of the movie. So I don't necessarily mind it per se, but I never felt like her character fully grew out of that quirkiness in a way that Thor did, which makes sense. She hasn't been around or whatever. And so, she's not my favorite character. It's not Natalie Portman's portrayal. It's just the character is just not my personal favorite.
I guess the reason I didn't mind the quirkiness is because it was one of those things where I'm like, that's how, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's how she's supposed to be. And she's not changing because this 6-foot guy with the six pack is there. She's still quirky. Like, I think that's what I liked uh
Yeah.
about her is that she's like, yeah, that's cool. And those are nice abs. I'm still the smartest person in the room. And
Yeah.
we're not going to forget about that, which is, and that's what I think that's what why I, yeah,
I totally like that part of everything.
yeah,
She was a little off. Well, okay. I was gonna say she was a little off kilter with him, but then again, she had a god fall in her lap, and he's one of the first experiences of
yeah,
otherworldly whatever. So, like,
yeah,
let's be fair to her.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think that
yeah. And that's
love
why
it,
I
love
was
it.
even angrier that they killed her off because, like, she's an awesome character. Like, I mean, you hear about her in Age of Ultron. They're like, oh, they're talking about
Mm-hmm.
nominating her for a Nobel Prize. I'm like, I want to see that. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see that. Oh, of course you're not going to show it because Marvel never knows what to do with their awesome women characters, do they? Here
Yeah,
we
you
go
might. What do they
again.
call it? Fridging. You might as well put her in the fridge or whatever. Yeah, you got to
Jesus
kill
Christ.
off the
Whatever.
the interesting female characters to continue the male plot.
Yep.
Although
Yep.
with this one, it just felt like they were saying like, well, we just got to simplify down the characters.
We
Uh,
can't give them a daughter and a wife.
Heaven
Like,
forbid.
I forbid, right? I don't know. Who knows? But
I hope what's her name? The Valkyrie. I never remember her name.
yeah, Valkyrie. Yeah.
That's her name? She is a
Well, that's
Valkyrie.
her. I think she's
Do
as
they
the
just
last
call her
one. I
that?
think they just call her Valkyrie. Yeah.
I want her to come back. She's awesome.
She should. I don't see why. Yeah, I'd be very shocked if they didn't because she's the new leader
Mm-hmm.
of Asgard
Right.
right now, and so I'd be very shocked if we didn't see something
Yeah.
come out of that, especially since the new I think New Asgard is on Earth,
It is.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, I would be very
It's
shocked
in
if
Norway
yeah that tracks.
because, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd be very surprised if they didn't do something with that because they released that full cast list, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things where
Yeah.
it's like, don't worry, you're going to get to see everybody pop up in here, even though the cast list keeps getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, and so but yeah, I did get chills from that trailer, just seeing Thor just like
Yeah.
praying, like praying essentially, which is something that's like, oh wow, I didn't even think gods had to do that, but yet here we are. Like but that's how much he's been through, right? He's like, I
Yeah.
need some faith, I need something. And so yeah, I'm excited to see that because I really love what they did with his character throughout these movies. Hated how he was treated in Endgame, like how the
Yeah.
characters treated
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But also, oh my gosh, like that was one of the parts that made me like tear up when he does go back and see his mom that he lost in the second movie.
Yeah.
And she sees him and she's like, the years have been rough to
Mm-hmm.
you. And it's just, he's so happy to see her. Like that part is just so heartfelt because at that point you're
Yeah. He's like,
just
I
seeing,
totally am from
yeah,
the future.
yeah, yeah,
It was so cute. Yeah.
yeah. It was so
Yeah.
good. And so I want him to win and I want him to get a happy ending, but at the same time, I'm so excited he's coming back.
Thanks for nerding out with us. I'm clinical psychologist Dr. Emilia Brown.
And I'm educator and comic aficionado Keaton Hopkins. Check out my TV and movie reviews on YouTube at Team JBS. Check out our website at bat-therapy.com, our Bat Therapy YouTube channel, and follow us on social media. And don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/battherapy. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.